They said it would be a routine visit. Just a handshake, a photo, a headline. Tinubu has shaken hands with kings, presidents, CEOs, but this was different. As he stepped into the ancient Vatican hall, something shifted. What was said between them was only half of the story. Before we reveal what really happened, just click that subscribe button now and become a part of a channel that tells African stories with the dignity they deserve. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a devout Muslim and lifelong adherent of the Islamic faith, arrived quietly in Vatican City. No marching band, no media entourage, just a slow convoy and a discreet black sedan. Its windows tinted against prying eyes. The air was crisp and the sky grey. Inside the apostolic palace, the silence was thicker than the gilded walls. His special advisor leaned in as they passed the third hall. They said the Holy Father cleared his entire morning. No cameras, no aides, just you and him. Tinubu nodded. He had been briefed, of course, but no amount of briefing prepares you for how quiet power can be. He had met many leaders at G20s, AU summits, at the UN. But this wasn't just another handshake. This was a meeting between two worlds. A Muslim president in the most sacred seat of Catholicism. They ushered him into the Clementine Hall, a private diplomatic space where power speaks softly. The Pope stood as he entered, older than Tinubu, but his expression calm, his posture steady, offering a quiet welcome. "Mr. President," he said gently, "welcome." Tinubu responded with a gentle bow of his head, palm over heart, and replied, "Holy Father, thank you for receiving me." And they shook hands. The two men exchanged gifts. From Tinubu, a carved Quranic tablet from Kano. From the Pope, an aged manuscript, an 18th century Vatican map of the Niger River Basin. After the gifts, the Pope broke the silence with a gentle but pointed remark. "Africa is rising," the Pope began, "but so is the number of young people living it." Tinubu's expression didn't shift, but something in his eyes sharpened. "They want change," he said. "They are not wrong for that." The Pope nodded slowly. "But do they trust people leading that change?" "Some do," Tinubu replied. "Some don't. It's not new." The Pope folded his hands. "Mr. President, your country carries weight, but in Rome and other parts of the world, there's confusion. Some call your leadership dictatorial, others call it loud." Tinubu remained still. "I've heard worse," he said. "You can't clean up a country without noise. What people call chaos is often just a place undergoing change." The Pope adjusted his glasses slightly. "Forgive me," he said gently, "but I believe God brought you here for more than just protocol." "What do you mean?" Tinubu asked, his voice lower now. "This wasn't a meeting," the Pope said. "It was a door, and I don't think it's closed yet." He turned to one of his aides and asked for more time. Tinubu quietly gave a nod, and so he was ushered into a side chamber, a small dim room lit with one golden lamp. The Pope followed him in. Once seated, the Pope said, "You carry a nation, and I've seen it before, when the burden becomes armor, and armor can separate a man from the people he thinks he's protecting." Tinubu's voice was quiet. "I've made hard decisions. Not everyone agreed, but I stood by them. Still, there are days I wonder if things are truly working, if I'm holding the country together or just buying time." He looked away briefly, and the truth is, I've grown cautious. There are things I want to change, but when your own team fears disruption more than decline, you start to second-guess yourself. The Pope tilted his head, still listening. "But you're the president. Your word is final. Why stay silent and not effect the necessary change?" he asked. Tinubu exhaled. "Because one wrong move and I could lose control of what little progress we've made. But lately, I've started to wonder if staying silent is just another form of failure. Silence may feel safe, Mr. President, but sometimes action is the very thing that breaks the cycle of fear," the Pope said. Tinubu met his eyes. Truthfully, I've been waiting for a sign. Something to tell me I wasn't imagining the weight I've been feeling. Maybe this is it. Tinubu stood up, glanced at the Pope, and thanked him for the talk. The meeting was over, but something had shifted. On their flight back, the cabin lights were dim. Tinubu sat by the window of the presidential jet, awake, though the hum of the plane and the soft clatter of dining trays let him know that everyone else had dozed off, except Mr. Lanre, his special advisor, quietly tapping on his phone across from him. He later slid into the seat across from him. He didn't speak immediately, just poured water into a glass and passed it over. You didn't say much after the meeting, Mr. Lanre said. Tinubu took the glass, nodded once. Some conversations don't need to be said, he said. They need to be reminisced on. Lanre gave a cautious smile. That's a strong quote. Want me to draft a post around it? The president looked at him, not unkindly. That's the problem, Lanre. Everything doesn't need to be posted. Some things need to be felt. After a long pause, Lanre asked, what did he say that stayed with you? Tinubu turned to Lanre and said, what kind of country do I want to leave behind? The kind with a shattered economy or the kind that lasts and thrives? He let the silence hang before continuing. The Pope didn't tell me anything I haven't heard in whispers from my own people, from their pain. But hearing it outside your borders, it is different. Lanre sat forward, now listening. Are you planning a shift? He asked gently. No, Tinubu said. I'm planning consequences. For who? Lanre asked. He replied. For everyone who has forgotten why they are sitting in office. I'll start small. Education board, cooperatives, youth desk, the ones that have impact. I don't want noise. I want momentum. Lanre tapped into his tablet, then paused. Sir, will they understand this change? Tinubu looked back out the window. They don't need to understand. They need to follow pace. Back in Abuja, the press called the visit a diplomatic win. But behind closed doors, the mood was different. Some northern clerics questioned why a Muslim leader would publicly honor the Vatican's new pope, especially at a time where tension at home was already rising. A few southern bishops praised it, calling it gesture of maturity. Social media, as always, was divided. Why go to Rome when your backyard is on fire? Diplomacy is not religion, another argued. It's a vision. Tinubu said nothing publicly. He called a surprise meeting with the Rural Education Board. Then another with youth empowerment teams. We've made noise, he said. Now let's make a movement. Start with schools. Then cooperatives. Let results speak. No press. Two ministers stood near the edge of the executive wing courtyard. One said, have you noticed the president since he came back? He's watching everything, the other minister replied. You didn't see how he shut down the transport proposal yesterday? No expression, just one sentence. We'll review it to see if he serves the people, he said. They exchanged looks. Do you think it's because of the Pope's meeting? The younger one asked. I don't know, the older man said. But since Rome, something has changed. Meetings are shorter, responses are sharper. He doesn't say too much too. I wonder what is really going on. A third minister, Minister Bisi, was walking past them with files in her hand. She overheard them and stopped. You both don't even know half of it. They turned, startled. We don't? The younger one asked. Bisi said calmly. The man didn't blink when he cut 30 million from his own protocol budget. The two ministers were silent. Do you think it's political posturing? The older one finally asked. No, Bisi said. I think it's personal. And with that, she walked on. The younger one muttered, almost to himself, it cannot pass this his Pope visit, Sha. The older minister agreed totally. Weeks passed, nothing dramatic, no sudden shakeups. But inside Aso Rock, the tone changed. Ministers began arriving 5 minutes earlier. Briefings grew sharper. Memos came back with red marks. Then came the directive, a presidential memo, signed and stamped, effective immediately. No vehicles would be approved for any ministry unless directly tied to service delivery. No luxury SUVs, no protocol needs, no loopholes. There were still problems in the country, of course, but something had shifted. The Vatican visit passed, but it was clear that something had shifted with the president. Not just around him, but within him. Not every trip is about headlines. Some are about clarity. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on my stories. Up next is the story of Miriam, a hardworking woman and the challenges she faced as a business owner in Lagos.